Hi, my name is Nathan Singer with the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and today we're out doing a small stream survey. This is Carr Creek. It's a tributary to the Duck River right here in Normandy, Tennessee. So part of the diversity of the Duck River is the fact that it has so many tributaries, just like this one behind me, that kind of bolster its fish count, and different species occupy these little streams and interface with the larger river. So we used a backpack electrofisher. It's simply a backpack with some batteries that are hooked to two electrodes. One is positive and one is negative, and then we insert those electrodes into the water and engage the power, and it forces electricity from one pole to the other. Anything around in that area, as fish-wise, will orient themselves to the positive pole and swim toward it, and eventually it will stun them, and we can pick them up and examine them and count them and determine sort of the stream health. Some of these species are indicators of water quality. So far, what we've examined today would indicate that this is a high quality stream and that it's in pretty good health and species balance. All right, we'll start with this guy first. Get him out of the net. I don't know if he'll go in the viewfinder or not. We'll try him. But this is a little darter. They do not have swim bladders. They are a benthic feeder. Darters are good indicators of stream health. This is a fantail. It's got three little dots back here that kind of come together. That's one way that I can identify it. And these long stripes indicate fantail to me. And then if you look closely on the top dorsal fin right here, that orange coloration, well, during the breeding season, the males will have little nodules on top, and they look like eggs. So a female might come along, and he's defending his territory, and he's displaying, and those little nodules would resemble those eggs, and that female might think, hey, this guy is doing a really good job taking care of this nest. I think I want to deposit some eggs there. So it's a little trickery, but it's another way that these animals have adapted to reproduce. Let's see. This little fella, it's called a snub-nosed darter. It's still knocked out, so we won't put him in the tank. But you see how blunt his nose is? It sharply comes down. And it has these little W's along the side. In the summer, in breeding plumage, these things are just brilliant. So they change color and shape depending on the season. This is one of the larger darters that we have in Tennessee, and it's a greenside darter. They get a little bit bigger than this. They might get as big as my hand. But very colorful this time of year, all the orange in its tail. The markings are again an indicator of that species, just the way it looks, and then plus its large size. Greenside darter. Greenside darter. So the darters are the bottom feeders, essentially, or the benthic, meaning closer to the bottom of the water column. And like I say, they feed on mostly aquatic insects and even small fish. This is an herbivore. These are called stone rollers, common stone roller. They've been broken out into different subspecies across the state as they do genetic work on a lot of these fish. We're actually finding more species of fish according to genetic variations, and endemism is what they call it. But the interesting thing about this fish is it travels along the bottom in schools, and they use the bottom part of their mouth has a little shelf of cartilage. It's very rigid, and so it can scrape aquatic insects and algae off of the, I'd say it's an omnivore then, off of rocks. Whoop, oh, he's a jumper. There we are. Everybody. He's not the most colorful one, but important nonetheless. All right. So the top predator in this stream appears to be this creek chub. And it almost looks like a largemouth bass. Whoop, there we go. Now maybe you're better off there. But you can see it has a large mouth. It's terminal, so meaning it's at the very end of its head, and he swims in the water column, eating smaller fish, crayfish, aquatic insects. But they can get up to be, nearly a half a pound. And in the springtime or in the breeding season, because they can breed throughout the summertime, the males will develop a whole bunch of bumps on their heads, and some people call them horny heads. Out in East Tennessee, I know that people get really excited about their horny head holes. They go out there and you can actually catch these things on hook and line. And they fry them up whole and eat them. This is one of my favorite fish, hog-nosed sucker, northern hog-nose, or northern hog sucker, I'm sorry, not hog-nosed. But it's got an interesting shaped head there, and you see its mouth part. Yeah, that's what he does. And I've actually seen these guys come through in schools. They get much larger, I say, and they'll come along and work an area of the bottom, and then I've seen other fish like smallmouth bass and bluegill and rock bass come right behind them and rub themselves up against those rocks, probably removing parasites that were, now that the rock is more abrasive because it's clean, they'll go down and rub themselves against that cleaned area and remove parasites from the outside of their body. So just another important way that all these fish work together. Yeah. The rosy-sided dace. I don't know if you can see that bright kind of violet rose color on its side there. And another good indicator of water quality. There's a few different daces in Tennessee. Short-nosed dace, long-nosed dace, rosy-sided dace, Tennessee dace. But this is the most common one around here. So look at that guy. Does he not look cool? Big mouth, big buccal cavity. So you can imagine he takes small crayfish, other small fish, aquatic insects like this. I can't tell if it's a stonefly on my pinky there or not. My eyes aren't so good anymore, but he would definitely eat that. The darters would eat that. His profile keeps him fixed to the bottom of the swift water environment. You'll find these in riffles and swift runs. He uses those long pectoral fins to fan out, and the water pressure and hydrodynamics keeps them stuck to the bottom there. And he and the hogsucker have a similar, pattern color pattern which camouflages them from predators above.